4, 2, 5. So. 46. Ja. 5, 1, 5, 1, 3. Okay, good luck. Thank you. Hallo. 1, 1, 2. 1, 2. Italien. Dort. Ellard. 6, 0.
Auf den Geschmack gekommen. Möchte noch mal alle Flaggen, alles ansehen. Hier im Stadion drüben am Hauptweg und dann habt ihr sehen, wie wir noch mal alle miteinander so links alle nach oben Hände mit den Flaggen und der DJ kommt jetzt noch über musikalische Takte dazu, genau. Und noch einmal alle zusammen.
Welcome back to Lenzerheide 2025. You join us in Switzerland and the Roland Arena as the country hosts the IBU Biathlon World Championships for the first time. A drama-filled first day in the mixed relay, and we start our individual events with the women's sprint. 2.5-kilometre laps, 2 shooting stages, and after 7.5 kilometres, we will crown our first world champion in an individual event. Just under 300 athletes from 34 countries competing over the next week and a half. And alongside myself, Ellard, is former Team USA biathlete Chad Salmela. Chad, the wintry conditions have returned to the Swiss Alps. A night of below freezing temperatures, snow falling since the early hours of the morning. And, well, it's a relief to see -4 in the air temperature there.
Yeah, nearly a 15-degree turnaround on the temperature, and it definitely feels like winter. Walking in today, it felt like the wind was bringing the temperature, the wind chill down even further. And that'll create a big change in the skis, the use of the skis. The technicians have been working very hard the last 2 days to try to make up for the adjustment from very spring-like conditions a few days ago to these wintry conditions today.
Well, the German team sharing some love on Valentine's Day. And once again, the stands are packed out here in Lenzerheide as our individual events begin. We can take a look at the start list. We'll flick through the pages, and Chad, we'll take a look at some of the headlines. And one of the big ones that stands out is the 2 at the top of the World Cup rankings. Well, they've never stood atop the podium at a World Championships in an individual event. With the form they're in, just how much of a big opportunity is this for Lou Jean-Monod and Franziska Preuss?
Well, it's huge. They're both in the best shape of their lives. They both have the most confidence on the shooting range of their lives. They're scoring higher on the shooting range than they ever have. And now they have a little bit of a more challenging day with the wind on the range. It's a consistent wind, but that plays to their favor as long as they hit and others miss.
Well, that's someone who has some very happy memories from the first ever World Cup races here in Lenzerheide. That was last season, and of course the last time we were here, Chad, it was a clean sweep of gold medals for Justine Bressard-Boucher on the World Cup, and it's no surprise to see her as one of the favourites amongst our biathlon world experts.
She's so fast. She skis almost as fast as the World Cup sprint winner, Crystal Globe winner from Slovenia, who made the transition to biathlon 5 years ago, Lampic. They're basically tied, but the difference is that Bressard-Boucher is a career biathlete. she's not a great shooter. She's a high 70% shooter from both prone and standing. That isn't great by world standards when you consider Preuss and Jean Monod are in the 90s. But if it's a world championships and the pressure's on and you have a little bit of wind and everybody misses, all of a sudden it's advantage of the ski racer, Justine Barsaud-Boucher. And you look at her three-peat last year at this venue, and you have to be liking her chances today.
Absolutely. We might as well stick with the French women, and the one who will be wearing the gold bib, it says defending champion across her chest, is Julia Simon, now 7-time World Championships gold medalist, and of course reigning champion in this event. She recovered from a fall in the mixed relay, Chad. So much drama in that first lap. Of course, will wear this gold start number. Where do you rank her chances today?
They're good. They're not as good as they have been. She is the defending champion today in this event, but she's not quite the same athlete that we're used to seeing when she's at her very, very best. She's not been great on the skis, and she's been a little bit down on the range, a couple % down on the range. But she is so good head-to-head, and this is not the race that she excels at. She needs to set herself up though for that pursuit performance in a couple days' time.
Well, someone we'll see quite early on in the order, bib number 10, Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold. It was a really challenging day for her. She was caught up in that collision, that crash on the first lap. She had to jump out the way, managed to stay on her feet, but you can just imagine the adrenaline that was going through her veins. And we of course send our support to Ingrid after she was the victim of some horrendous abuse. After that mixed relay, Ole-Einar Bjorndalen said that he thinks she should try and shoot less. Just explain the logic behind that.
Well, here's the thing. Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold has been doing this sport since she's probably a young teenager. She knows how to shoot. She doesn't have to learn how to shoot. The things that are the demons right now, let's put it this way, she has had a career's worth of bad luck in about 2 months, and it's all happened in the last 2 months. And what I think what Bjorndalen is saying, and I agree with him, what you have to do when you're missing shots, when you've got the yips, is just go away and remember and forget your rifle for a few days. It's hard to do that because you're at the World Championships, but that's what he's talking about.
So final preparations for the athletes who are going out early in the start order. Chad, it's something we've spoken about on a number of occasions this season, but for those who are tuning in for the first time this season for these World Championships in Lenzerheide, we will of course be using the new start groups introduced by the IBU this season.
Yeah, so the first 15 people are outside the top 50 in the World Cup standings, and then they're interspersed with people between 30th and 50th, and these first 15 starters will fall into that group. Then the B group will go out at bib 16, and that'll be bibs 15 through 30 interspersed with lower ranked athletes, and then they'll go to the A group from rankings 15 to first, and that'll round out about Justine Barsaud-Boucher at 68. So it's a more formulated individual start format.
Suanna Maka of Poland getting this women's sprint underway here at Lenzerheide 2025. Our first world champion in the individual events will be crowned today. And Chad, it's something that we spoke about earlier when we were walking around the courses. Michaela Carrara prepares to get her race underway, but for these early starters, there's a fresh level of powder that's just been falling over the course of the day. Yeah,
it's not a huge disadvantage, but anytime it's snowing, you don't want to be in the first 10 to 15 starters, just because you're kind of plowing the way over that new snow. Now, it's not falling really at a rate it's a problem. It just feels like a little bit of a disadvantage at this point.
Michaela Carrara at 7 points finishes this season on the World Cup circuit. Valentina Dimitrova of Bulgaria, fresh off the back of winning the individual at the Junior European World Championships in Germany.
We should also note that the course has changed so significantly. They're pushing through a lot of slush a few days ago, very wet snow. The skis they're using today will be very likely very different flexed for a more hard track, but there's a little bit of this soft snow that they haven't tilled into that old snow, so they're riding largely on a brand new fine film of sharp crystal snow falling from the sky.
And an extra challenge for the athletes to overcome, and particularly those who are making their first start on a World Championships. One of those, Anna Andekser of Austria, the 22-year-old, made her debut on the World Cup this season on home snow in Hochfilzen.
One of about 10 or so debutantes today on the World Championships. Andekser has been racing the World Cup quite a bit. Her best World Cup finish, 25th. Try to do a little bit better of that today with a slightly pared down field. Only 4 teams per nation maximum, but then if you have the world champion, you get a 5th person, so the French will have 5 women on today.
The only Australian in the field, and a familiar face on the World Cup circuit, Darcy Morton, Improved her shooting this season. This now her 3rd World Championships in the green and yellow of Australia.
Morton's 6th start at a Worlds. You see Maya Clutens, kind of an interesting character. Started out as a French junior biathlete. Actually had competed for France in the Junior World Championships, now competes for Belgium.
Elika Janke of Finland. Plenty of Finnish flags and fans amongst the crowd here in Lenzerheide.
Great opportunity for Janke. She spent the whole time this season on the IBU Cup. Got the nod for this World Championship start, though. So that's a good opportunity for her to do something special.
Yeah, part of the relay team for Finland in Antholz. And, back amongst the top-level athletes of Finland as we roll into the World Championships. Tuuli Tomingas of Estonia. This is her 6th World Championships now.
Yeah, she has a pretty good PR at the World Championships. 2 seasons ago, she was 6th in the individual at the World Champs. Has done nothing of the sort this year and has failed to score a World Cup point, so she's not been in the top 40 yet this year. So Tomingas has a little bit of work to do to reach that level she hit 2 years ago.
First of our Lithuanian athletes, such a recognizable kit, isn't it, Chad?
I love it. It's kind of like an old weaving pattern they've weaved into their kits. But Lydia Zaraskaita getting her 6th start at the World Championships. Her World Cup or World Championship best was last year. She was 43rd in the individual, so has a little relatively has to be split the field in a little bit better than the front half to get a PR today.
Yeah, really good prone shooting so far this season. Alina Strolemus. No World Cup top 10 finishes since 2022.
She's almost 29 years of age now. She's been to the World Championships a few times as well. It's her 6th start at the Worlds.
Well, and all eyes now, and the attention turning to the start blocks for bib number 10, Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold.
And what must be going through her mind and her heart right now? She's just got to try to blow it all off, get to where she's been so many times. She knows how to do this. Just go back on autopilot and just hope for the best today. That's really all she can do with the rough start she's had at these World Championships.
10 World Championship medals, but no world titles in the individual events. And a tough bib number to start today.
That was what was so shocking about that miss. She had a penalty loop, two penalty loops from the prone position. She's a 94% shooter up until 2 days ago when she scrambled for the Norwegians and had a terrible shooting stage. So looking for better from Tandervold today as number 11 heads out. This is Slovakia's Zuzana Remenova in her 5th World Championship start.
And the first of our Canadian contingent, Pascal Paladis. This is her World Championships debut. Still only 22 years old, but competed in all bar one of the World Cup race weekends so far this season. Set her up nicely for this competition.
And I think we're going to hear a little roar from the crowd now.
Indeed. Well, such an important part of the history of this sport in Switzerland. Elisa Gasperlin prepares to start her campaign at her last World Championships. She'll retire at the end of this season, the 33-year-old.
Yeah, really the first family of at least Swiss women's biathlon. Gasperlin heads out and represents her 2 sisters. Her oldest sister, who's retired, had a bronze medal from the from the Olympic Games, excuse me, back in 2014. So big roar to the hometown and well-known name, Gasperlin.
Yeah, plenty of fan-made signs around the course.
Gonna look at the time of the Norwegian now, Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold. This course, you see Tandervold hitting the high point of the first climb. This course has been described as a very challenging course because of the altitude. And if you go out, it climbs basically for about 3 minutes right out of the stadium. And it's at the top of the climb is this little bit of wall right here. So you've been climbing for about 3 minutes, and you have to hit this part before you get a break. And everybody that I think it was Jean Monod who said, if you go out too hard in this course in the first loop, you can kind of bury yourself. So you've got to throttle back a little bit on that first lap.
Well, we'll keep our eyes on the clock as she comes towards 0.8 kilometers.
Nice tempo, got her weight out over her poles, leads by 3.2 seconds. Good start for Tandervold over Andexer. Really should probably be the class of the field at this point. Now, I would say that's almost a conservative start by Tandervold, just 3.2 seconds ahead.
Maya Clautens of Belgium wearing bib 16. Ranked 24th in the world. She's well, smashed her personal best so far this season. Still hunting for that elusive first top 10 though. Her best in this event, 19th in Hochfilzen this season.
Should be able to knock down her world best or her world championship best, though, in 73rd is her best world championship start of 9 of them. And that was her first shooters to the range. Carrara comes in the range. If you look in, she's 11.2 seconds down on the graphic, just below the running time. That means she's 11.2 seconds into the lead of anybody in the range so far, which would be number 1, Maka. There you see the wind graphic on the lower left-hand side, 9 kilometers per hour, not massively fast. Once it gets over 10, gotta kind of watch it, but the direction is also a big thing. The direction here, it's not switching directions too terribly much. It's basically wavering between a quartering wind from the left from about 10 o'clock to about 10 o'clock to about 4 o'clock.
Michaela Kalala is through and clean. Julia Jima of Ukraine next to get underway. All the athletes starting in 30-second intervals.
So both the first 2 athletes through this tricky shooting range. It's windy, but there's 0-0 so far. There's Valentina Dimitrova now, the number 3. She comes into the range 14 seconds back of the time of Carrara. That's in the red where it says in. Where they take that time check as they come into the range. Miss for Dimitrova, the first miss of the day.
Dmitrenko of Ukraine following out her compatriot. Personal best of 5th in the individual competition at last year's World Championships. Karolina Offigstad-Norton, the next of our Norwegians. 3rd in the sprint in Hochfilzen, but that her only podium of the season on the World Cup. No podiums in individual events at the World Championships, and looking to change the record on that front today.
Has a very steady shooting from both positions, 83% prone, 82% standing. And that's well within the world standard. There's Tandervold now pulling more time out of Carrara at the 1.7 mark. Excuse me. So she's coming through in 7.6 seconds now ahead. That's a good sign for Tandervold. Carrara probably the best of the skiers of that first 10 skiers or so besides Tandervold.
Darcy Morton dropping down into the prone position. 2 athletes so far making visits to the penalty loop. 150 meters, they'll add on to their competition for any miss. And Darcy Morton starts with 1.
She comes in 31.6 seconds back. I'm looking at the wind right now. The wind dying just a little bit. We were talking before the start, and I said, Ellen, if the wind changes at all, that kind of becomes the issue. It's not, less wind isn't better at this point. Everybody is zeroed for a pretty stiff wind from left to right. And right now, it's wavering and dying a little bit more than during the 0 period. So you've got to really be aware if the wind dies down, it may take your bullet off the target as much as the wind was pushing it into it before. Here's Erika Janka now. Starts with a miss, 35 seconds back of Carrara. So Carrara, we saw 2 clean shootings from the first 2 bibs, and then the only 2 clean so far as we get all the way to bib number 6 now. Misses from everybody else that have come to the range, including Janka. It's just 1 for her, though. 1 for Dimitrova, 1 for Andexer. You can see the wind kind of swirling. The snow is kind of blowing all different directions. It's been really consistent all day. Now it's back to that consistent stiff wind, and she should be able to shoot right through this. It looks worse, but it's actually better to just shoot through this than wait for the wind to die down, because this is what you've zeroed for. But a miss nonetheless.
Well, here is 19-year-old Julia Tannheimer, her World Championships debut at senior level. World Junior champion in individual and the relay event. Silver medalist at the sprint in the Junior Worlds last year.
Good ski time now for Ingrid Landmark. Tandervold coming in 8.5 seconds ahead of Carrara. That's about where she should be. She's in control of the ski thing. Now she's just got to try to put everything out of her mind that's been going through her head for the last several weeks and just be who she is. lot of time. 18 seconds to the first shot, and it's a miss. That one goes down. Give her a little bit of confidence now. Every shot that goes down, a little bit more wave of confidence behind what she's doing. Good trigger squeeze. Well, it's a miss, but it's still going the right direction. It's not a disaster. Almost a relief in a lot of ways after that first miss for Vandervold.
It won't be the lead, though. It'll be once around the penalty loop before she can exit shooting one.
But I think at this point for Vandervold, it's important that she at least take a step. That's a step forward. It may not be in the medals today, and we know she can medal, but this is a step forward in the right direction. Good,
absolutely.
Good shooting stage for her, all things considered. There's Vandervold's time now. How far will she be back? About a little over 20 seconds. That's about right. She's skiing pretty even with Carrara and took a little more time in the range than Carrara did.
And now off to her second 2.5-kilometer loop before she comes back into the range for standing, where she will have her eyes on being perfect through that final shoot.
Vandervold spotted Carrara actually 6 seconds on that shooting stage, but she took her time, which I think was the right thing to do.
Well, one of the home favorites and someone who's been trending upwards this season, Amy Beserga, first podium in Ruhpolding in the individual competition there. She finished third. 3 top 10 finishes so far this season. And in front of us in the stands, the Swiss flags flying high. At the same time, Elisa Gasparin comes into the range for her first shoot. 12.8 seconds down.
You can see that 12.8 seconds. I was going to say Beserga and Gasparin both. Neither of them, this is really neither of their strongest suit. They need the 4 shooting stage races to be in, but this sets them up for the 4 shooting stage pursuit if they can go clean today. But yeah, there's a miss for Gasparin. I was just going to say that if you can go clean and set yourself up well for the run at the pursuit, they have a chance that in 2 days' time.
Yeah, of course. Not just the medals at stake in this race today, of course, a place in the pursuit as well. Here's Anna-Maria Lampic, her first podium of the World Cup, and on her career in the World Cup came in Annecy-le-Grand-Bernard, finishing third. Chad, with the win today, we're looking over the range now, and there's the red flags are being tugged to the right-hand side. Just how much of a challenge will that pose for Anna-Maria Lampic?
I've been watching Lampic, and I think she's a very solid prone shooter. She has good position in prone, and she can hit from the prone position. And when she's lucky, she can hit from the standing position. But her standing position in this kind of wind, to hold it steady and hit the target, is going to be such a big challenge for her. I just think the windy day is really not in her favor. I could be wrong, but I'll go on the record as saying that this is going to be a big challenge in this wind from the standing position for Lampic, regardless of whether she cleans or not prone.
Maya Klottens of Belgium. Just 1.6 seconds down coming into shooting one.
Yeah, this is a for real performance for Klottens here. As I said, she's with junior teammates, all these French stars that are ahead of her. She went to Belgium, kind of seeing the tea leaves ahead of her in her future, and went to Belgium, but she's competing very well for Belgium, and she's clean.
Look at that, she's clean. And an opportunity to take the lead here. Maya Klottens of Belgium. Keep your eyes on the time. I think it will just slip away from her as she exits the range, and well, there's about 10 or 15 meters before she gets to the time check.
Going to fall just outside the time, but it's a good start for the Belgian. I love it at a World Championships when you see a Belgian and a Greek flag pop up at the top of the leaderboard. There's Carrara now standing. She was clean from prone. Could she do something from bib number 2? There's a miss, though. She needed that to be clean. Carrara, 72% shooter from standing. It's pretty solid. She'll have 1 time around the penalty loop and should be the new leader. Carrara goes into the loop. Meanwhile, we go back to the prone shoot.
Lena Haki-Gloss had such a strong end to last season. The last 2 trimesters really serving her well, but hasn't had the same success this time round. Urged on, though, as she leaves the blocks by the Swiss fans.
Good 19 here, coming with a good time, just 9.4 seconds back of Carrara. Carrara's sitting a pretty solid first time from bib number 2. I'm impressed with that performance so far. Still doesn't come to the shooting 2. She has 16.15. The time of Carrara, and as we watch Dimitrenko, she's got a miss, though. And
2 misses now, yep. Twice around the penalty loop after her first shooting. Here's Anna-Maria Lampic. Well, no surprise to see her shoot to the top of the standings after 0.8 of a kilometer.
And 6.8 seconds, that's for real. She still looks like she's under pretty good control, though. She might be surprised at how much time she actually has. There's Norton now, trailing by 6.9, but she's fast on the shooting, on the shoot, fast on the shooting time. In fact, it is the fastest time so far of the day on prone shooting, 23 seconds from pulls down to pulls up in prone. That's quick. She may get the lead for it. She does.
Yeah, just 0.4 of a second.
So things going well for the first or the second Norwegian out on course. Norton's clean and in the lead now after prone.
A lovely shot of the course here. One that has been rapidly developed over the course of the last 5 years. A huge amount of investment going into the stadium and the venue here.
It really is quite a story. 20 years ago, there wasn't even a stadium here. There was no ski trail, and certainly the iterations that this venue has taken to hold these World Championships have been immense. Great job by the organizing committee to go from nothing to the World Championships in less than 20 years.
And the camera flicking between the two Slovenians who are out on the course, and it's Elena Rapinch who is into the range with a small advantage here. There's Tuli Tomingas of Estonia in for the standing shoot. This for Rapinch on the first.
Tomingas just goes paint the picture is 23 back of Carrara, so not really a threat to Carrara's time, and she misses as well. On 3 misses for the Slovenian, that's a tough start for Rapinch, but equally tough. You can see how the wind is still pushing them around. It's a pretty consistent wind. You can shoot through it if you've really got a great standing position.
Julia Tannheimer pulling up to the mat, dropping down into the prone position. Illness saw her out of the last 2 stages of the World Cup. With 3 top 10 finishes this season so far.
This is what I wanted to see, was her ski time. She's 17.9 seconds back of Tanderville at this point, so she's not quite as fast as we would have expected Tannheimer. But we also know that she is a slow starter. Takes her time to get into the race, maybe keeps it a little bit under the threshold that first lap, and then slowly picks it up if she gets the momentum from the shooting. And that's what we're talking about, clean shooting. She can go fast when she wants to. The question is where is her fitness right now? We haven't seen her on the World Cup for over a month. Drew Skyka now. Drew came in the standing 56 seconds back, so not a real story there, especially with those 2 extra misses. So Drew Skyka should fall quite a ways back, and she's going to spend 3 trips around the penalty loop.
But just pulling up behind her, Ingrid Landmark Tandervold.
So Tandervold comes in with a penalty, mind you, 33.8 seconds back. At this point, I think you're just trying to shovel yourself out of a spot where you can feel confident in what you've always done. Starts with the hit, that's a good start. Nice cadence. There's the miss. 8 for 10. Good step forward. It's not going to be enough for anything special today for Tandervold, though. But to get to special, you have to get to normal.
Yep.
And she's pretty normal today with an 80% shooting. So watch Tandervold. See how she stacks up against Carrara. How much time will she be back? She's got an extra penalty loop than Carrara. Should come out about even on the skis based on what we're seeing on the time checks out on the course. Been trailing Carrara by about 23 seconds at every point.
And now the focus for Ingrid Landmark Tandervold, a big last lap, Chad, to try and secure the best position she can for the start of the pursuit.
Crazier things have happened. She could find herself on the podium in pursuit if she keeps it close here. Leaves the standing shooting in second place, just 34 seconds back of a 9 for 10 from Carrara. Here's Becerra. Oh, Becerra, 2 misses. Hate to see that. Oh, and 3
now. It's unraveling.
And now the pursuit becomes a problem.
Yep.
Oh, heart goes out to her.
Anastasia Kuzmina, bib number 29, 40-year-old.
Look at this. Oh, she missed
just one miss. The world champion in the sprint in 2019, 2-time Olympic champion in this discipline. Great to see her back at the World Championships. Here's Anna Maria Lampic.
Yeah, 16.9 seconds coming in, and she starts with 2 misses. And I got to tell you, there's not a lot of hope there because standing is going to be even a tougher proposition. She gets the last 3 though, at least keeps a glimmer of hope alive. This Lampic, she goes twice around the penalty loop now.
Well, swapping the yellow bib of the World Cup for bib 46 today. This is Franziska Preuss, who leads the points total on the World Cup circuit in the season of her life. So consistent. She's had to overcome so much to get to this point. And one of the medal favourites. She's never won an individual world title. But Chad, this is the year that she could do it.
She's got some big names to get some information on while she's racing. She's got Dorothea Viera starting a minute ahead of her. Suvi Minkinen 2 minutes ahead. Those are some people she can get a draw on how she's doing, because she's got the big challengers. Julia Simone a minute behind her, and Grocian, her teammate, 2 minutes behind. And then Jean Monod is back in bib 54. So she's going to go out there and try to set something down. Right now, she's got every opportunity to take the victory here today. Does Preuss.
Well, a really solid performance from Michaela Kolala, starting bib number 2. And the first across the line, 1 penalty on the day. Here's Anna Magnusson.
Comes in 11.2 seconds up on Norton. She's flying on the skis. Magnusson has done this before. She kind of out-skis herself. She gets into a place where she's just flying faster than we've ever. Her 1 World Cup victory was just this kind of thing where she's maybe a percent or 2 faster than we're used to seeing her. She's doing it today. Could Anna Magnusson throw it on a time that could be a medal potential? 2.2 up on Norton. That's great.
Julia Simon, the reigning champion, flying out the blocks and round that first corner and into the climb as she exits the stadium.
Here's now Lena Häcki into Häcki Gross. She's right even with Magnusson, so she's skiing well as well. That's 32 seconds to get these shots down. Got to be clean. Would love to light this Swiss crowd up. Oh, she takes a couple of clicks.
Adjusting the sight.
It makes you think maybe she's a little gun shy. No, there she goes. Gonna start shooting now. Gotta just let it go. Nice. Good cadence. Focus is good.
Oh, that's great. That's really good from Lena Häcki Gross. The Swiss crowd love it, and that's just what she needed, Chad.
Meanwhile, Julia Zima, who was clean from prone, was Häcki Gross in 4th place at the first shooting stage, and we're watching Zima in the background there in the blue and yellow of Ukraine, leaving. She's the last one coming out here. Where will she be? She falls outside the time of Carrara. She's clean on the day as Zima, the first clean shooter on the day, and she'll pop into 2nd, 3rd, right ahead of Tandervold.
7.4 seconds down.
So lots of stories to be told. Here's Fialkova, Bartoska Fialkova. She had a podium in France in the mass start.
Oh, look at Carolina Norton.
Oh.
4 misses, and it will be 4 times round the penalty loop. That is so disappointing for the Norwegian.
And then all eyes in Norway turn to this young woman who Ole Einar Bjørndalen, the greatest ever, has called the biggest star of the future for Norway. Kierkegaard, that's a big weight to carry into a World Championships as things start to fall apart for your older and more experienced teammates.
Carolina Norton clean through shooting 1, 4 misses, 6 out of 10 on the day. Standing is proving to be a challenge for some of the athletes out there, Chad.
I think it's a little bit of standing, and I think it's a little bit of nerves. I think the Norwegians feel really pressed against the wall right now from the French women, and this isn't helping. Here now is Hanna Öberg, trying to get Sweden's hat in the ring for a medal. They didn't win a medal in the mixed relay event that they're normally very good at. It's now falling on the women's sprint to get some momentum, some medal momentum going at these Worlds for the Swedes. Also
taking some clicks there, like Lena Häcki Gross.
Yeah, I think they're taking them off. They're taking the clicks off. The wind is dying, it's softening a little bit out there. And that's a good choice because she's got 2 hits. Sometimes it can click you into a really good place when you decide to take those clicks, and then you just get into the zone. And this is great stuff from Hanna Öberg. This could be a lead, could be tight. Could be Sweden 1 and 2 though. It will be Sweden 1 and 2.
Yep, it will be for now. Lou Jean Monod starts her race. Hanna Öberg's into the lead by 1.5 seconds ahead of Anna Magnusson, and you can of course see Carolina Norton's name there. 4 misses on the last, so she's out of the picture now.
So the Swedes are coming to play today. They're 1 and 2, clean through prone. This is Hanna Öberg in bib 38. Up ahead of her on the course is Anna Magnusson, her teammate, in bib 32, heading towards the standing chute. Here's Tannheimer now.
Clean through prone shooting. 13.9 seconds down.
Doesn't quite have the ski speed, though. She's clean, and she comes in 13.9, and now a miss. This is probably going to be a little bit of a form builder for Tannheimer. She hasn't raced at this level for a while. You can see she's probably just a little bit off her best ski form. Still 9 for 10. Solid day for the young 19-year-old. Tennervold now to the finish.
Ocean Michelon. No podiums on the World Cup, but come so close on a number of occasions this season. It would be special if she can find something here today.
Well, Tennervold has given up 4 seconds already to, it's going to be a handful of seconds, almost 10 seconds to Carrara on that last loop. So Carrara doing a spectacular job of pulling time out of a big name like Tennervold. Left the standing chute, did Tennervold just 34 back and finishes 48 back. So not the greatest ski performance by the Norwegian either.
No, across the line in second for now. Our attention turns to Suvi Minkkinen of Finland. What an incredible first leg she had in the mixed relay. If she can pull something similar off here, more than within a chance for a medal.
Has finished 8th in the World Championships 2 years ago. This could be a medal performance if she keeps it up. That's a good start.
Yeah, really solid start.
Little off on the ski time, though. I would expect her maybe to be a little bit closer than 10 seconds back. But this is good fast shooting, which is kind of her hallmark. Ball outside the time of Oberg.
And Magnusson as well. 2.9 seconds down. But Chad, we spoke about it earlier, if this is a course that you need to build into, we could see her start to turn up the gears over the next lap and a half.
That's exactly right, and I think I'm most interested to see how the sickness has affected Minkkinen's fitness, since we haven't seen her racing for a while.
Yeah, plenty around the Finnish squad. We saw that at the end of Antholz. Here's Dorothea Vela.
This is a woman who has won 3 World Championship titles individually, one of 3 in the field who has done so. She has experience, and she's been there and done that. She's mowing him down from the prone position, and she's clean as well.
Yep, really great start for Dorothea Vela.
Could she find the fitness she's been lacking to really contest today? She's doing it now. She's going to come into the lead for sure. She's going to be about 5 seconds, maybe a little closer. It's going to be 3.9, the lead for the Italian viewer.
And that bumps down Hannah Oberg as her sister Elvira. We get our first glimpse of Elvira Chad after missing out in the mixed relay. Here's Franziska Preuss, though, into the prone position. 17.9 seconds.
At the time, she's got almost a penalty loop of ski time. I hope she didn't ski too hard. She looks poised, though, because Mina in the shooting range as well. She has a miss, though.
Oh, it's quick on the shoots as well.
Preuss is in control of this race now. Everybody chasing the German, no question about it. Well, on a different level.
Completely. 10 years since she last won an individual medal at a World Championships. It was back in Kontiolahti in 2015, and she is in the driving seat here. 15 seconds she leads by.
That's a victory of 45 seconds if she keeps it up. She is in great form. Klutens now to the line, trying to take down Tennervold. She's going to do it. Klutens will do a great job of cleaning on the day and take second spot behind Carrara.
Yep, a really solid year so far for the Belgian. Resurgence amongst the Belgian women's team as well. Lotte Lee having a good start to the season. But here is the defending champion.
What is she? Oh, there's the time. She's skiing second fastest into the range from Preuss. So the big names are setting the fastest time, but Preuss is just flying out there. And this has been Julia Simone's sort of Achilles heel compared to the top of the field. She's just about that far back every time she comes in the first shooting stage. Magnuson quickly drops 2 out of breakout. So much happening here, sorry.
So that's Magnuson out of the podium positions. One miss for Julia Simon.
That puts her out of the medals for this. Now she's got to fight back in the pursuit. It becomes about the pursuit for her. Jima clean on the day, coming in, trying to take down the time of Klutens.
The Ukrainian fighting towards the line.
Klutens is going to get her, though.
Yep.
But she'll move into the 3rd spot ahead of Tennervold.
Yep.
So 2 clean shooters in 2nd and 3rd. Carrara with a miss, still holding the lead for the Italians. Kind of a surprise, the performance by Carrara. Michaela Carrara's best finish in any World Cup is 16th. She's holding the lead still. Here's Grotjen now, the upstart 20-year-old. Already a victory this season in the World Cup. The first World Championship start in the senior category right here.
Lena Haki-Grosso goes 10 for 10. Truly spectacular from the Swiss woman. Excellent in the range, you cannot fault her, and as she skis away, the Swiss fans are delighted. It's fallen apart for Selina Grottian in her first visit to the range. 2 misses, twice around the penalty loop. She'll go an extra 300 meters, but Lena Haki-Gross has the lead by 22.5 seconds.
This is exactly what the Swiss crowd needed, and talk about a big-time performer. Lena Haki-Gross has been pretty ho-hum all season long, comes to her home World Championships and cleans in the opening sprint, and she's in the lead by double digits, by nearly 30 seconds. It's huge.
She will need to draw on every ounce of support that she can get around the course now for this final 2.5 kilometers.
Boy, you want to make a home crowd World Championship exciting? That's exactly what you need, is the clean shooting hometown hero. Meanwhile, Kirkaida trying to get into it. Kirkaida 15 seconds back coming in, and the Norwegians, they're just off. They've got no mojo here at these World Championships so far. Another miss. Oh, this is just turning into a nightmare for these Norwegian women. You have to feel for them. 3 loops for Kirkaida. I had her down on my short list as somebody to surprise for the win today, and we will not be seeing her name among the leaderboard, but one person we do see is this Hanna Öberg. Already 3 World Championship titles. Could it be a 4th today? She's clean so far and leads by 15.9 seconds over Haki-Gross coming in, and she's leading by 22. Öberg, her calling card, standing. Oh, there's the miss, though. And the Swiss are going to love it. The Swedes are going to hate it. Resettles. Jean Monod comes in to shoot prone.
So 300 meters around the penalty loop for Hanna Öberg. As we join Lou Jean Monod, her first visit to the range. She's 9.7 seconds down coming in. And there's a miss for Lou Jean Monod.
Didn't look very settled. That was not the Lou Jean Monod we're used to seeing. It looked, all the mechanics looked the same, but the focus wasn't quite the same that we're used to seeing.
And when you look at, well, how many have gone clean already and are powering around the course, she will need to be perfect and she'll need to be quick. Julia Tannheimer of Germany coming towards the line. It's 3rd for now for the young German.
Yeah, sneaking just 0.6 of a second into the 2nd spot. That split second there. Here's Océane Michelin. The French are coming fast and furious.
Only 4 seconds down, Chad.
4 seconds of poise. She's flying. Can Michelin make this her first podium of her career at a World Championships? There's a miss, though. And another miss. Pressure mounting on these late starters that they know that Francesca Preuss is laying down a barn burner of a race out there.
Milena Todorova of Bulgaria, just 1 miss on the day, 9 out of 10.
Not gonna challenge the Swiss. Haki-Gross is looking. It looks good for a podium, just kind of sizing it up right now. If you look where the misses are, the people
What
coming
a story that would
there's
be.
not a lot of people clean like her, and she's not been skiing well this year, but she finds the energy today and the perfect shooting. Here's Minkkinen.
Yep, she was so open after Hochfilzen on the pressure she was facing. Suvi Minkkinen is in the lead coming into shooting 2.
Trailing by just 2.3 seconds, so 2 kind of middle of the pack top runners. If they can go clean today, could challenge each other for the medal, for the gold medal. Haki-Gross is still clean, and Minkkinen is 4 She looks great.
Well. It's excellent from Suvi Minkkinen. Wow, wow, wow. That is incredible from the Finnish athlete. A breakout year. Her first podium in Kontiolahti on home snow just the day before she turned 30. And could she be challenging for her first World Championships medal? Clean on the day. Let's see where she comes out. She's in the lead by 9/10 of a second.
This is huge. We're seeing more Finnish fans at the Biathlon Worlds than I've ever seen before, and they've come to see this athlete who is having a breakout year. She's currently ranked 5th or 7th overall in the World Cup, or excuse me, she's 5th overall in the World Cup standings coming into these World Championships, but she's got to find that power to take the championship title. Because Preuss is still coming to standing, and Elvira Öberg is still out on course and has yet to shoot. Here comes Öberg now, but she's 9 seconds back of Preuss.
The first miss for Dorothea Wieler. And with so many around her going clean, she's now dropped 2, and that's her out of the picture for a medal.
Sweden started hot with 2 clean shooters, but both Elvira's older sister, Hanna, and Anna Magnusson missing twice from the standing. Can Elvira change the tone for the Swedes? She's 4 for 4.
And that's 5. Elvira Öberg, a DNS in Antholz.
Look at this, 7 for 10 from Lampic. She proved me wrong. She hit 4 for 5 from the standing, and she's not going to take the lead, but she's going to be in it. And Carrara still holding the lead. Preuss, meanwhile.
Here we go, Franziska Preuss, and there's a miss. Anna-Maria Lampic into 3rd for now, and Franziska Preuss has work to do.
She may be able to absorb it. She's leading Hanna Öberg by 12 seconds coming in, but Öberg had a miss as well. She had 2 hits to be exact. Minkinen clean, Haki Gross clean. Preuss could outski him, though, in this last loop. Let's see what the time comes when she comes out of the loop. Watching for Preuss is Jean Richard, the lefty, comes in her first World Championship race.
Well, what a season she's having as well. She starts with a miss, though. Just needs to refocus.
Well, we're seeing Jean Richard shoot, but the lead has changed after standing despite a penalty loop. Preuss leaves the penalty loop after standing 2.1 seconds in the lead.
And that is something special. God, the battle for the medals is heating up, but here is Lena Haki Gross, clean on the day. What a comeback this is. After the first 2 trimesters she's had this season, she's into top spot, 13 seconds she leads by. Just how long will she be able to hang on for it?
Well, you have to look at the ski performance of Carrara to put it in perspective. Haki Gross lost 10 seconds to Carrara in that last loop. And throwing her hat in the ring with another miss is Julia Simone. She came in with a good shooting, with a good performance, but 2 misses on the day was probably not going to be enough for her to be on the podium.
Yep, Anna Magnusson across the line in 7th after such a good start. And a wave to the crowd. That is an excellent performance from Lena Haki Gross. Disappointment through the first 2 trimesters of the season. And delivering at home.
That's just biathlon. When you have to rise to the occasion, regardless of what your skiing's doing, you just have to find the pieces and put them together because you don't know what the rest of the field's going to do. And today, Haki Gross is likely to get a medal at this point, but she could still win this. Although that's probably unlikely with Preuss's ski prowess.
This is Ella Halvorsen, bib 66 into shooting 1, 15.2 seconds down.
Halvorsen, one of the final serious threats on the course. Right behind her, a minute back, is Justine Bryce-Boucher, which closes out the red group and the best in the field. But Halvorsen, a little off the ski speed. She's clean so far. Could be a medal performance if she can keep it up, but not seeing the ski speed she had early when she had her first podium of her career on the first weekend in Kontiolahti.
Yeah, started the season so strong. She's into 4th for now. Here's Franziska Preuss. This is 5.8 kilometers. Franziska Preuss is 3 seconds in the lead, despite the penalty loop.
It's not much more. She was only leading by 2.1. She's only pulled a second on that penalty loop. Might have tired her out. Now, final real threat.
Yep.
Only coming in 7. She's already got a miss. This is not good enough. It's not 7.2 seconds back. She's not even leading in the ski performance. And a miss, she can't absorb this. Right now, it's Preuss and Öberg leading after Krohn and Bryce-Boucher. She's going to have to find the speed and pick it up from here if she wants a chance at the title.
Oh, a clean sweep of the podium at the World Championships last year in this event for France.
Let's not forget Michaela Carrera, still sitting in second place. 13 back of Haki Gross. She's going to beat Hanna Öberg with 2 misses. Carrera with the single.
And Hanna Öberg driving towards the line. Only enough for 7th today. 51.4 seconds down.
25 seconds slower on the course than Lampic, the fastest time on the course. But look at this. Here is Jean Minot trying to claw her way back in, but she has another
miss.
She's not going to do it today. It'll have to be the pursuit for her. Not skiing at the level she needs to either to absorb 2 of those misses.
Well, this season, Chad was saying she's been much better on the 4 shooting stages. Only 1 sprint win on the World Cup this season, so not entirely a surprise. But, wow, Suvi Minkkinen.
She's finding the speed to get past Häcki Gross, but can she hold off Preuss? Preuss is charging from behind. She had 3 seconds on Minkkinen at 5.8 and still coming behind her. So everybody cheering on the Finn. All coaches are on deck. Everybody that could be on the course for Finland is out there yelling at her.
Yep, and she'll see plenty of Finnish flags in the crowd as she pushes towards the line. She will take the lead. 1.4 seconds.
Unbelievable. It silences the crowd, but boy, there's a roar going over the country of Finland right now. They have not had a world champion. Let's look back. I don't believe Kaisa Mäkäräinen was a world champion, but that would be a huge victory for Finland if they were able to hold on. And now we're going to find out how she's doing against Preuss. Preuss is looking wounded. She's not quite as strong as I thought she would be on this last loop. Starting to sputter a little bit. 5 seconds to get to that orange marker. I don't think she's going to take the lead.
She's not going to do it. The time ticks by. Suvi Minkkinen holds on to the lead at 6.7 kilometers. Franziska Preuss, who leads the World Cup overall standings, is having to grit her teeth. 9/10 of a second in it.
Here's the thing, though. We saw this with the young German. It's at this high point. If you're gassed, you have a long downhill now into the finish, and you sort of get a lot of oxygen that you're lacking at this high altitude. If Preuss can just use that to reinvigorate herself and find that anaerobic power with that recovery, she might be able to get that slight bit of time she's leading. It's just 0.9 seconds. It is a hair's breadth away, and if this recovery works for her, she could probably take it back.
Well, Finland haven't had a world champion since 2011. That was Kaisa Mäkäräinen in the pursuit, taking gold.
I wouldn't have expected to be this tight.
No.
Even with a miss, I thought Franziska Preuss would be able to pull this last lap out. She needs to be, you can see she's been in a tuck now for a long time. This is what I'm talking about. She's getting a longer recovery than normal. Now what kind of pressure Franziska Preuss can come out of that downhill?
Yep, around the bend, she'll come into the stadium.
15 seconds to get there.
It's going to be incredibly tight, just 9/10 of a second in it at the last checkpoint. Suvi Minkkinen waits behind the start line, looking on. Franziska Preuss pulling around the side of Dorothea Viera. Will it be enough? It's not. Suvi, it is. She does it by 2/10 of a second.
Oh, heartbreak for Minkkinen, but elation for Preuss and the Germans. 2 misses in the meantime by Elvira Oberg means these two are going to stay atop the leaderboard because nobody else is really clean right now unless Justine Brysaud-Boucher can really get on a horse and fly.
2/10 of a second.
Wow.
A penalty loop for Franziska Preuss. Well, Chad, it doesn't come much closer than that, does it, in a sprint?
Her Kortreussland is just breathing a sigh of relief. That 9/10, that's the thing. These things sometimes come down to these split tenths of seconds. And can you imagine losing the world champion by 2/10 or winning it by 2/10? An amazing, amazing finish, no matter what. No matter who you're cheering for, Finland or Germany. What a tight finish that was. Who says these individuals are hard to follow?
So wow. No one has gone faster through any of the checkpoints so far than Franziska Preuss. She's never stood atop the podium at a World Championships. Here's Julia Simon. Not her day today. 2 misses across the line in 5th. A shake of the head. Her focus will turn to the pursuit where we know she is so strong. 24.7 seconds. And well, that's a gap, Chad, that will be in her favor when it comes to the pursuit. Here's Jean Richard, who has 1 miss, but comes in 59.1 seconds behind the time of Franziska Preuss.
Trying to maybe get a medal. No, she's challenging Carrara now, so she's outside the medals for sure. Is Jean Richard with that extra miss? looking at maybe a top 15, top 20 at this point, and just setting herself up for the pursuit. Don't want to get too excited yet, but Lucy Anderson from the United States coming through into shooting 1, just 4.8 seconds off the lead now. This is her first ever World Championship start. Had a 22nd place in a cross-country World Cup earlier this month. Lucy Anderson, she can ski. She's only been shooting for about 6 months.
Well, in for her first shoot, the first of 2.
She's going to get some camera time for sure.
She is in the prone position to start for Lucinda Anderson of the USA.
2 for 2. This is pretty impressive so far. And there's the first miss. Meanwhile, Halvorsen in the shooting in the breakout, bib 66. Anderson, 4 for 5. It's not going to be amongst the leaders, but it's a great start for somebody who's been doing biathlon for 6 months.
A miss for Ellard Halvorsen in the standing position.
Oh, 2. Swedes just not able to rally. As coming across the line is bib 50. Here is Nadia Sidorovic. We haven't seen her. Not going to be a medal performance, but a top 10.
7th for now for Natalia Sidorovic. Franziska Preuss in the lead, and well, surely now secured the World Championships medal, the first title at world level of her career.
I think we've just kind of seen what the course is all about here. So 7 for 10, Maren Kirkeide from Norway comes back with clean shooting from the standing position, kind of gets back into it, and she's going to be in a good spot. 47 seconds back for the pursuit, giving her a chance, a glimmer of hope. With the Norwegians, the Swedes both struggling today, and I think that what I was going to say is we're starting to see how this course is going to affect the World Championships. We're seeing a lot of people kind of dying at the top of these hills, even when they're in good shape.
Here's
Jean
Minot, who, well, the time is ticking down for her. 2 misses, twice round the penalty loop. It will fall outside the time of Michaela Kolala. Brassard Boucher.
Let's see what's going on there. That might not be over yet. Brassard Boucher trailed by 28 coming in the standing. Jean Minot moves into 5th at the finish. Just so many things happening, trying to keep track of it all. Here comes Brassard Boucher, clean from the standing, and she could win the race still. She's back in it. 2.9 seconds back.
2.9 seconds.
It's not over, baby.
No, she's a formidable skier, Brassard Boucher. And could she upset the party for the German team here?
I would say it's pretty likely. She comes from altitude, has skied well here. Remember, she won all 3 individual races at the World Cup here last season. And to be 2.9 back with a 2.5K loop to go between her and Preuss, seeing the way Preuss skied, I'd say advantage Brassard Boucher. Wow.
Let's take a look back at that shooting. Well, she had to be clean, didn't she, Chad, after that miss on the first. Well, Suvi Minkkinen continues to watch on. She's sat in 2nd for now, so close between her and Franziska Preuss as they came towards the line. There was really nothing in it. 0.2 of a second, and well, even if Brassard Boucher is able to do what we know she can do on the final lap, it should still be enough for a medal for Suvi Minkkinen. Here's Oceane Michelon, who is, well, she will be aiming and will finish inside the top 10 over the line for now in 8th.
Great ski time, though. 8th spot, 3 misses, 46.3 back. She's 14 slower than Lampic, so very good for her. We got to remember, Lena Häcki-Gross is in the third and final medal spot, just 1.6 seconds back. That puts her 1.4 back of the silver, and if Brassard Boucher takes a medal, that'll push the Swiss athlete off the podium by 0.4 of a second, or 1.4 seconds.
Yep.
It'd be a heartbreak.
So it's not just the German team and Franziska Preuss who have their hearts in their mouths. It is, of course, the Swiss fans who are hoping for their first podium of Lenzerheide 2025. Justine Brassard Boucher, formidable here. Last year in the World Cup, a clean sweep of the podium.
Let's remind you, Brassard Boucher is in 3rd place, 2.9 back. Minkkinen sandwiched between her, 0.8 of a second ahead of her. But here comes the time of Brassard Boucher. It still might not be enough.
Oh, it's going to be so close. 0.7 of a second. Well, this is the drama that you expect from a World Championships. The gap that Suvi Minkinen had over Franziska Preuss was 9/10 of a second at that point.
So Bryce-Boucher is probably going to be a little bit surprised that she's not making more of a dent into that ski time than she is. There's Uberg now. 2 misses. You can see she would have been into this race. It's just 1 less penalty, even with all the sickness she's had. She's skiing well, but it won't be a podium. This is good form, though. She looks like she's fighting again.
Two misses, 8 out of 10, and Elvira Uberg over the line in 8, 43.6 seconds down. But the big story is at 5.8 kilometers.
We missed Sophia Schneider there. She's in the top, fighting for a top 10 as well. Lots of athletes fighting for a great race. Putin still in 7th spot for Belgium. Carrara still in 4th for Italy.
And it will be just inside the top 10 for now for Sophia Schneider. 9 out of 10, 45.9 seconds down for the German.
That's a good performance for Schneider. She was 5th in the World Championships in the pursuit last year. So she sets herself up for another good one this year. Schneider in 9th now.
Going through the crowd there, you can see Justine Bressard-Boucher, bib 68. She was always going to be the last challenger for a medal and for the title. We're waiting for her to come to 6.7 kilometers.
At 5.8, she was leading by 0.7 over Preuss. She's fighting, but she doesn't look spectacular. This course definitely is making these athletes look like they're working for every second they get. But just look at the technique. She's still popping off each foot in that V2 technique. Now she goes into a climbing technique, but she held that V2 well up that hill compared to the competitors around her. So she's skiing well.
Ella Halvorsen just ahead of her, slotting in to 8th at 6.7 kilometers, and now 8.6 seconds. Well, Chad, it might not look like she's working too hard, but the time is certainly telling, and she has one hand on the World Championship title here at Lenzerheide 2025.
On that turn, at the top of that climb, she looked far better and more energetic than both Preuss and Minkinen, and I have to say it was a stark difference in their body language.
Well, she's had to ski off the penalty loop and really hold her nerve. She had to be perfect in that last visit to the range. And under the pressure, she delivered. She'll come down the long downhill section behind the stand and the stadium and take a turn into the finishing straight.
Wow. I love the World Championships. I was expecting it to be exciting. I didn't expect it to be this.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be a heart attack.
Well, we've had the drama on both days of racing now. Here's Ella Halvorsen coming towards the line for Sweden. It will be enough, more than enough for a top 10 finish. But the noise behind for Justine Bressard-Boucher, who takes the world title here at Lenzerheide 2025.
No more threats on the course.
9.8 seconds.
It was a spectacular come from behind. She had that miss prone. I thought it was over, but she was perfect from standing again.
Yep. She really had to hold her nerve after missing in the prone position. It could have easily been all over then, but rallying hard through the second half of the race to take the title by 9.8 seconds from Franziska Preuss, who finishes in the silver medal position, just 0.2 of a second ahead of Suvi Minkinen. So the intermediate results with 66 of our 92 starters across the line. Justine Bressard-Boucher taking the title here in Lenzerheide. Franziska Preuss will have to wait another day before she can claim her first world title. And Suvi Minkkinen, Chad, well, what a performance from the finish.
Oh, she's got to be thrilled. But I have heartbreak for 4th place, Lynn Hackey-Gross. We were at the opening ceremony a few nights ago, and the head of Swiss Ski Federation was saying, we just want 1 medal. We want 1 medal at these World Championships, and they missed it by a whisker today. But many more races and opportunities to come, but when you come that close, it stings just a little bit to be the host nation and miss out on a podium by 0.6 of a second.
Well, it's a much changed story to last year at the World Championships in Novo Mesto. A clean sweep for the French women. It was Brassard-Boucher who finished 2nd on that day. She upgrades her silver medal to a world title and celebrates with Lou Jean-Minot. 2 misses for Jean-Minot today, and only enough for 6th. Her attention will turn to the pursuit, where she will try and chase down her compatriot.
It was a thriller.
Yep, so nice to see that team spirit. There's so much talk going into this about the form of Lou Jean-Minot. We know, of course, the prowess that she holds, and particularly over 4 shooting stages.
And let's just talk a little bit about getting the albatross off your back. France did it in the opening day by dominating. They do it again today with a win. But Germany now with 2 medals, 1 in the mixed relay, 1 here. Finland, you know, no pressure on Finland, really. You know, Finland has not been a medal-winning World Championship team or country for most of its existence in the sport. We had Tapio Pipponen way back in the 70s and 80s, but Suvi Minkkinen with a well-earned bronze medal. But the pressure mounting now on Sweden and Norway. The top Norwegian today, Maren Kyrkheide in 16th. Top Swede today, Ella Halvorsen in 9th. Kind of has your head scratching. The big stars from those big Scandinavian nations, they're just not really on it yet at these World Championships, and you've got to figure a way to turn that ship around. It's not easy when you're in mid-direction, or when you're floating along in the ocean with the engines roaring. Yeah,
not at all. Finland's first medal at a World Championship since Hopfilson of 2017. Makalainen taking bronze in the mass start there. And, well, one of the masterminds behind it all, Erik Tornes Kolstad. A high five there. He's, driving this Finnish team on the Norwegian, and just such a bubbly character as well, isn't he, Chad?
I mean, I've been a coach my whole life, and I can't, I know what it's like to be an underdog. I've always chosen underdog jobs, and this is an underdog job that he's taken, and nobody deserves a medal today for what he's done for a team than that coach right there.
Shauna Pendry of Great Britain, part of the quartet that ran out as the first in a decade to represent Great Britain, and this is really solid standing shooting for Shauna Pendry, who goes 5 for 5 after missing 3 in the prone. Talk about holding your nerve and fighting back.
Yeah, just cleaning after 3 misses to clean on a windy day at the World Championships, and you're not really used to competing at this level. That's a great day. That's a great performance for Shauna.
Yeah, made her debut at Le Grand Bornard just before Christmas on the World Cup circuit, and great to see her and the rest of the Great Britain team. Brought 5 athletes over. Well, so close for Franziska Preuss. She thought she'd done it. We thought that there was going to be a very slim chance of anyone being able to fight back, but Brassard-Boucher coming into that final shoot and staying clean in the standing position. That was the difference on the day.
Still pretty happy about it, though. She doesn't look to be. I feel for Lena Hackey. What an electric performance by her. She's happy though. She's smiling. She's barely missed a medal. I mean, what an amazing day for an opening day for the individual results for the home team. It's great. Just a feel-good story. Would have been nice to be in a bronze, but I think Finland's bronze is just as big a deal.
Yeah, well, it's the confidence that she needed as well for Lena Hackey-Gross, who, we saw finish last season so strongly, and you could tell it's been weighing on her shoulders that she hasn't been able to hit those same heights. Only one podium in the sprint, though, Chad. She's certainly, the statistics lean that she's fares better in the 4 shooting stages. So to be lining up 4th It's a good position to be in.
Let's put it this way. This is the best Lena Hacky gross we've seen all year, by a little bit of a stretch, we have to say. So it's a good time to show up. You got the Greek. Oh, rough performance for the Greek athlete, Konstantina.
Yeah, challenging conditions out around the course and in the range today as well, and particularly you feel for those representing the smaller nations. It's great to have them out on the course and competing here. 34 countries represented.
Just looking back, they have to go back to 2017 in Hochfilzen World Championships when Finland last won a bronze medal at the World Championships in Kaisa Mäkäräinen. That was her, I believe, yeah, that was her final World Championship medal. Mäkäräinen, world champion back in 2011 in the 10-kilometer pursuit. She's been the high water mark for Finnish biathlon for pretty much its entire history. But Minkkinen, late in her career, adding her name to that list of medalists from Finland. Here's Astrid Ukalek-Slettemark, a family of biathletes. I used to compete on the circuit with her parents, and nice to see her. She's a great shooter.
Excellent shooter,
excellent
10 out of 10 there.
Junior world champion. So she's a legit biathlete from all the way up in Greenland. Trying to move into the top 50 there. Gonna fall just outside the top 50. And I always love looking at the outlying performances, especially at a World Championships, and I have to throw some light on the fifth place finish by Michaela Carrara.
Yep.
That is something huge. One miss on the day. I mean, if she was clean, she was a medalist. You know, if she went 0-0 today, she would have beaten Hacky Gross and Minkkinen with her time back. So great day for the Italian as well, the young Italian, 27 years of age. That's going to be her high watermark of her career.
Yep, a huge personal best by 11 places, and it previously stood before today 16th in the sprint in Oberhof. And Chad, the development that we've seen since the turn of the year in Carrara has been brilliant. She had already 7 top 40 finishes this season, which of course when you talk about that in the World Cup circuit, means that she's finishing in the points quite regularly. And particularly in Oberhof, 16th in the sprint, 19th in the pursuit. She was 21st in the sprint in Antolz, but hadn't finished in the top 10 before today. And she only goes and finishes 5th with 1 missed shot at the World Championships.
She has the stats. She's at -3 to the field skiers. We see Lucy Anderson coming to the finish for the United States in her first race. She missed 3 from the standing position, trying to get into the top 50. And look, she'll get into the pursuit on her first ever World Championship start. Great job for Lucy Anderson as she comes to the finish line. We saw the 1 miss for Pronen, had 3 more standing, but she's a very fast skier and a star of the future for the United States biathlon team. And probably she's on the shooting time, gives up 40-50 seconds to the field still, just being such a greenhorn, but great step forward for her. But going back to Carrara, 23 seconds off the time of Brysa Boucher in the ski time.
Really good shooting for Chloe Dupont today. It won't be enough for a place in the pursuit, but 9 out of 10 for the junior athlete who's had a really busy start to the year, traveling all across Europe to compete as a junior and as well as a senior. And that's a very, very strong performance in the range, over the line in 76.
Yeah, so many things to overcome from a biathlete trying to do this from Great Britain.
Yep.
Just the travel, the cost of doing it, and the cost of development, and that's a nice feather in her cap at this World Championships.
Yep, to have 5 athletes competing here across the week and a half, it's a really solid sign in the direction that biathlon is going in Great Britain.
So come across the line there was Klemencic of Slovenia. She plops into 65th. Rimbeo of Romania behind her in 80th. So we can look back now at the shooting performance of Franziska Preuss. There's that miss. It was barely a miss. Barely a miss. It's almost a split bullet. As we go back to Slettemark, who's clean on the day. See who's on the line of 60th. You get another start here today. Dieter Irwin and Margie Fried, both from the United States, just outside that top 60, as is Inka Hamalainen. Final person on that start is Swiss athlete Amy Baserga, sitting in the 60th spot. And Lucy Anderson trying to hang on. She's in 55th right now for the United States in her.
Chad, when you look at that result of Amy Baserga, it really just shows how strong a result it is from Lena Haki-Gross to overcome the pressure of a home crowd, competing here on home snow, when it has been Amy Baserga who's been trending upwards since Christmas. It's Lena Haki-Gross who has had such a challenging start to proceedings on the World Cup to come back and take fourth.
She's one of my favorite athletes on the Biathlon World Cup because of this, because of what we just saw today. She is a never say die, smiling, happy person. Even when her chips are down, she finds positivity. And you think of a performance today, it hurts, it kind of stings a little bit that she didn't get the medal, didn't get the bronze medal for the hometown crowd. But she was still smiling.
Yep.
I thought we might see some tears and some frustration, but she was absolutely thrilled because she knew what she did today was a big step forward for her, and she's honest with herself. And that's what I love about Haki-Gross.
Clean shooting, you can't ask much more than that. Only one athlete ahead of her, and that was Suvi Minkinen, who we're just seeing the finish of now. Shot clean. The athletes who took first and second, obviously, Justine Bressard-Boucher and Francisca Flores with one penalty loop each. And really, Chad, in the top 10, she's one of just 3 athletes who shot clean. Yeah. So really, there's nothing more that Lena Haki-Gross could have done. And under these conditions and the pressure of a Swiss athlete competing here as well, you have to doff your cap to her.
Yeah, and likewise, Minkinen, we just saw Minkinen's recap of her finish, and she came across the line just like Haki-Gross. She didn't know. She's bid 42. Yeah. She didn't know if she won, got a medal, or finished 5th. But she put her arms in the air like she'd won because she cleaned and had a great race. And that's oftentimes, that's the sign of a true champion, just knowing that you've done all you can today.
Watching the finish of Chloe Levens of the United States, 9 out of 10 on the day for her. And, well, we'll keep our eyes on that number that ticks by. Less so the time. We're now looking for a top 60 finish.
I think she's going to get in. Yep. She was 52nd to the last time check. And I think Anderson will stay in even if Chloe Levens gets in as well.
The top 60 going through to the pursuit on Sunday, our first double day of racing here at the World Championships, and that should be enough for Chloe Levens of the United States of America, who takes 52nd.
Getting pretty close to official for that woman right there. World Championship title number 2 individually to go along with her world title in the mass start from last season. So 2 years in a row, Justine Bressard-Boucher will be a world champion individually. Sarah Poniek comes across the line for Hungary into 84th position. 7 out of 10 today.
Just 4 finishes still out on the course, a field of 92 today.
This is Slatamark, another clean shooter, also trying to get into that top 60. I don't know if she's got enough distance to get there. She's going to fall outside the top 60 for Greenland.
Yep, still has to come around the corner and into the stands. It will be outside the top 60 today for bib number 92. Yet to see her on the World Cup so far this season. We've seen plenty of her brother. And across the line in 72nd. So not enough for the pursuit. The snow coming down thick and fast here at Lenzerheide. Cheryl Ampadu, 6 visits to the penalty loop. The only Greek athlete on the start list on the women's side. We have the single mixed relay to come later on in the week. Expectation that Greece will line up on the 20th of February. And we've already spoken about the opportunities for the smaller nations, and the single mixed relay certainly does that, Chad. Of course, the athletes come out, of course, qualified to compete in the sprint, as we've seen today, the individual as well, but another opportunity for those who have made a really long journey, and as you've already noted, on quite a large basis rely on smaller sponsors or are self-funded. Another opportunity for them to race coming up later on in the week.
Yeah, and I think that single mixed relay really is great for the sport of biathlon. I think it's it opens up the relay and the national pride thing to far more teams, where you only have to go one deep. You take your best athlete in male and female, and it opens it up to so many more people.
Well, you can't help but smile when you watch the celebrations of Suvi Minkkinen.
Yeah, I got a sense when talking to her coach earlier this week that they were a little worried that they didn't know if they could overcome the sickness that Minkkinen has shown. She walks away with a bronze medal today, and that's big news in Finland. I think when Kaisa Mäkäräinen, who was great, she won the World Cup overall title 3 times for Finland, was dominant, top of the sport for a decade, and then she retires, and what's to come next? And but I think Erik Kolstad from Norway has come in and breathed some life into that program. We saw him, his smile. It's a feel-good story in a country that should be doing well at biathlon, because they have a very strong ski culture, and it just the sport needs to grow. This will help that. Yep,
exactly that, Chad. We've spoken to Erik, and when we were on sea, we had the absolute pleasure of being around the Finnish team a lot and reading a lot of the interviews that they've given to the press. Something that they've really worked on is improving the shooting, because, as you say, such a rich history in skiing, and the Norwegian coach has come in, and well, you just have to look at Suvi Minkkinen clean shooting 10 out of 10, and you can really see that that's working as well. When you say, of course, Suvi Minkkinen, they had the best shooting record in the mixed relay as well, so he is making things click in the range, and particularly in telling conditions like this. Look at that, 3 clean shooters in the top 10, and one of them Suvi Minkkinen.
It's a lot of doing what he's doing is getting belief. You have to you got to instill belief in yourself as a national program. It's one thing that I think as an American biathlete, I certainly struggled with that my entire short career, and I think that if you have somebody who can bring that kind of mojo and that kind of self-belief to a program where the skiers are pretty good, they just haven't had the success of it in Norway or Germany. And I think that's exactly what he's done. Is Erik Kolstad has come in and done a great job of getting them to believe that there's no magic to it, and you can do it.
Yep. Well, when we talk about single mixed relay as well, that's
particularly
exciting, because, of course, we've already seen Finland take their first ever medal in that event not too long ago, back in Oberhof, and there'll be ones to keep an eye on, certainly.
It's all Switzerland, I think.
And yeah, I have to agree with you with that, and there may have been some questions over who takes that spot on the women's side for Switzerland, and again there might be some questions around the men as well, despite, of course, Niklas Hartveg having a really good last few weeks of racing on the World Cup circuit, but that performance from Lena Häcki-Gross has surely secured her a place in the single mixed.
Yeah, and I think she's the right person. She's got the experience, and she proves that she's proven again today that she knows how to rise to the occasion. And I can't say this emphatically enough. It is so hard to come to your home World Championships and do what she did today. It's so hard, emotionally, mentally.
And that it's a weight that's lifted off her shoulders. It's a weight that she's spoken about carrying this season, wanting to hit the heights of the last 2 trimesters of the 23-24 season. She hasn't been able to do that until now, and a 4th place finish with clean shooting. Just 11.4 seconds off the pace, and so close to a podium position. 1.4 seconds separating her and Suvi Minkkinen. who is now taking on some fuel. And recovery is going to be key as well, Chad, as we look ahead to Sunday.
You're at high altitude.
Yep.
It's easy to be dehydrated up here. You've got to replace the glycogen stores as fast as you can for that Sunday pursuit. But there is your bronze medalist from Finland. It's been a Cinderella story season for her, as she's spent year in and year out on the World Cup, and suddenly a late bloomer. She is one of the best in the world. Today, she's the third best in the world and takes the bronze medal for Finland.
Justine, congratulations. It's been a bit of a challenging season for you this year, but now you're a world champion. How does it feel?
Yes, it's really amazing. I'm under emotions, and that's crazy because also my husband and daughter was just like there on the track, and she was like, I heard about some cries during the race, and it was like pretty funny actually, and I didn't thought about the win until the very end of the race against Francesca Preuss. It was really tough, and I'm really happy about this race.
Where did you find these powers to battle so hard on the final lap?
Yeah, I tried to keep my strength all the race around. So it was really tough, but it was special on the shooting range also for me, because as you said, this season so far I was struggling with my shooting, but today is the day, and I'm really happy about this.
Today really everything worked perfect for you. Congratulations again.
Very much, thank you.
Well, Chad, always great to hear from our race winners, and Justine Braissard-Boucher, her only win this season came under immense pressure in Annecy-le-Grand-Bernard. She remains the only woman to have ever won there on French snow, the only French woman to have won there on French snow. And under, similar pressure today, she stepped up and delivered France the second gold medal. So France back to, continuing to be top of the medal tables. And it has been a tough season for her. Just one sprint win until today, and back to her very best.
It has been, and I think that biathletes go through that. When you have a long career, you have highs and you have lows, and it is a momentum sport. You have to carry, because it's mental and it's emotional. And I'm thinking about this sprint performance and her World Championship title today. And there's one guy I think that needs to go rub up against Braissard-Boucher, and that is Martin Ponsaloma, because he absolutely flew in the single or in the mixed relay a few days ago. And if he can pull that kind of speed and do it, Braissard-Boucher today, she wasn't perfect. She hit 90%. And Martin Ponsaloma is in that position where he might find himself winning if he does the same thing.
Yep, we will turn our attention to the men's 10-kilometer sprint. That is tomorrow, starting at the same time, 3:05 Central European time, before our first double day of racing with the men's and women's pursuit on Sunday. And all the Finnish team together, and they'll all be looking for selfies with Suvi Minkkinen. all wrapped up there, right at the front of the crowd. And, well, just away from the pictures that you can see on your screen, Lena Haki-Gross has just been interviewed in front of the home crowd. And a big smile on her face. Chad, we're looking back at the race of Dorothea Wehrle, finishing at 21st today, 2 misses, and well, she'll be desperate to find something over the course of the next couple of days. She had some good performances in Ruhpolding and Antholz, and well, as you mentioned earlier, questions surrounding particularly the Norwegians and the Swedes.
Yeah, it's confounding. I'm not really. The Swedes have kind of dealt with it the whole season. The Norwegian women, you know, the men have had good performances as well, but they're just in a low spot, and it's hard to have a championships at altitude, prepare for it, and do well in the World Cup season, and do all those things. It's like juggling a bunch of things that are hard to keep in the air. And you know, when you're Switzerland and nobody's expecting you to win day in and day out in those early World Cups, nobody's going at every press conference, why aren't you better? Why aren't you better? But when you're a championship team and you have championship athletes on and they are trying to prepare for a high altitude World Championships, it's a challenge. And I think that's what it comes down to. And the Swedes are historically a nation who try to peak for major events.
Yep.
And it's really hard to race a full World Cup schedule and peak for this altitude World Championship. So, you know, maybe a few things amiss and they have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure it out. But there's a lot of racing left. Don't go flying home just yet, Sweden or Norway. They're gonna have their day, and but right now, is there any question that French men and women are on fire? I don't think there is. They're right now the team to beat, both genders.
Well, it's a party in the stands in front of us, and we continue to focus on the celebrations of the Finnish team, who claim their first medal at a World Championships since 2017. And Chad, we've of course mentioned the work of the head coach, the brains behind the project, Erik Kolstad. But the reason why we say Finland as a team have secured the medal is because so much work goes into preparing the skis, particularly on days like today, where we've come from the course being complete slush for the mixed relay to freezing temperatures overnight, a layer of snow. The wax technicians, of course, take a huge amount of credit for the work that they continue to do, particularly with the Finnish skis.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the podium finishers today, you look at the operation and the budget of France, and you look at the operation and the budget of Germany, and you compare that against the operation of Finland, certainly, and even Switzerland to some extent. But, you know, Finland's a pretty small operation, and we saw that firsthand earlier this season. But it's such an overjoy for the team when the skis are good, and it's a challenging conditions. The conditions here have changed since the opening of the training at these World Championships, and they've just kept changing. And so what they're skiing on today, they've not yet seen. And Finland did a great job of maximizing their ability to read that situation, with a small budget and a small group.
Looking back at the race of Lou Jean Monod, who finished 6th today. But a smile and a wave from one of the pre-race favourites, and as you said, Chad, of course, still a lot of racing to go, and well, you'd be really surprised if you don't see her on the podium, if not the top spot.
No, Lou Jean Monod doesn't have a lot to worry about. I mean, she had not a great performance by her own standards, one shot from each position missed, and I think what it should do for her is should be a wake-up call that she doesn't have to do anything special. She's got the race, the jitters out of her way, and she's got a pursuit in 2 days' time where she starts just 30 seconds back of the leaders, and she is such a good shooting stage. I would say based on where she sits right now, she's almost an odds-on favorite to win the pursuit. 30 seconds back with Bryce Aboucher. Price is going to be a bit of a challenge for her, but 4 shooting stages and 30-second gap for Lou Jean Monod, that is child's play. And she's got Julia Simone right behind her to help her do it.
when you look at it, it's one of the smaller gaps that Julia Simon has had to overcome this season. And, well, so formidable in the pursuit competition. But it will be led out with a 9.8 second advantage by Justine Brassard-Boucher. Well, the last of the challengers as well, Chad, wearing that bib 68. We always knew that she was the last of the athletes who we'd have an eye on for taking a podium place. And that's all we thought it could be for so much of the race, with missing in the prone position. But to clean on the last in the standing, and as she put perfectly there, hearing her young daughter on the sidelines with her husband, just willing her on to take the title in what is, you know, quite significant fashion when you look at that 9.8 second gap.
Yeah, and I look at the entirety of her performance. I think the thing that threw me off is that after she had a miss, she missed by, and she trailed by almost 10 seconds at the first shooting stage, where she should absolutely have been in the lead coming in, and she wasn't. And when I saw that, I'm like, I don't think she's got it today. But she did. She came back. She revved up the engine in the second loop and came in and knocked him down standing. And she's done it before. She knows how to do. She knows how to come from behind. And what did we say at the top of the show? All the extras are saying it's a coming from behind, slow start, fast finish course. And you could see that difference between her and Preuss. Preuss was maybe giving it a little bit more the whole race. I think Brassard-Boucher knew she had a little bit in reserve, and that's where that 9 seconds came from in the last loop.
Yeah, it was the French team who we heard that from as well, the fact that they wanted to build into this race. And, well, it certainly worked well as a tactic for Brassard-Boucher. So the athletes gathering for the medal and flower ceremony. The top 6 being honoured. And a friendly word between Franziska Preuss and Justine Brassard-Boucher.
Pretty good cast of the usual suspects, except for number 2, the Italian with the outsized performance today, Michaela Carrera.
Yep, who is just jogging to catch up. She's not usually in this position. Michaela Carrera, her first flower ceremony. Her previous best was on the World Cup, a 16th place finish. She's leapt up 11 places to finish in her first World Cup or World Championships flower ceremony. And starting bib number 2 as well, the challenge of ploughing through the snow that had fallen over the course of the last 24 hours.
Seems to be a trend there on the skiing manufacturer of this top 6.
A second podium of the season for Suvi Minkanen, but this by far the most important. Her first ever World Championships medal, and the first medal going the way of Finland since 2017. The Finnish fans, well, they've travelled in their masses to be here in Switzerland, and that's all because of the work that Suvi Minkanen has done through the first 2 trimesters of the World Cup season, laying down spectacular performances and biathlon that the fans back home can really get excited about. Well, such a nail-biting finish between Franziska Preuss and Suvi Minkanen, just 0.2 of a second in it. We didn't think she'd be able to do it. She got over the line. The issue was just how long she held on for it for. Franziska Preuss will have to wait another day before she can claim her first World Championships title, but she does take a first individual world medal in over a decade. The last time, Ellard 2015, and back on the podium once again. And you can see just how much it means for Justine Brassard-Boucher who closes her eyes as her name is read out. World champion once again.
She's not consistent, but she's good when it matters.
Yep, her second individual world title. And her first in the sprint. The reigning world and Olympic champion in the mass start. And she will lead out the pursuit on Sunday. A season where she struggled in the range. It's a really strong standing shooting performance to see her top the podium. Justine Brassard-Boucher is your first individual world champion here at Lenzerheide 2025. And here the roar for Lena Häcki-Gross, who skips over to shake the hands of those on the podium. Uncharted territory for Michaela Kalala, who features in her first World Championships or even World Cup flower ceremony. Bib number 2, taking 5th today. And Lou Jean-Monod setting herself up nicely for the pursuit. She'd have wanted more today, but her strength lies in the 4 shooting stage races. And she has a 31-second gap that she'll have to overcome in the pursuit. Well, for the second time in 2 race days, the French national anthem rings out around the Roland Arena here in Lenzerheide. Not included in the mixed relay. Justine Brassard-Boucher adds to France's medal tally, taking gold in the women's sprint. Second in the World Championships in Novo Mesto. She upgrades the colour of her medal. And after a clean sweep of the medals in the World Cup here last year, well, she starts her campaign off perfectly. The French celebrations will continue, as will those for the Germans and the Finnish team, who all crowd around the podium. Hugs for Lena Häcki-Gross amongst the Swiss team. And those are the medal standings in the embryonic medal table after just 2 races. It's France with a perfect start, 2 golds, and they lead the way. That is your podium from the women's sprint here at Lenzerheide 2025. We will be back tomorrow at the same time for the men's 10-kilometre sprint, getting underway at 3:05 Central European time.
Let's make history, das ist der Slogan für die Weltmeisterschaft auf der Lenzerheide. Ein Sport in der Schweiz, der grosses Potenzial hat. Und es geht auch darum, dass wir das Publikum da in der Atmosphäre schaffen. Da sind wir auch noch einen guten Weg. Wir schauen nächsten Mittwoch, wenn wir nicht über 4.500 Zuschauer, viel mit einer super Stimmung, da können wir rein. Das ist absolut richtig. Wenn du hier Sport in der Schweiz machen, jetzt hat man die Wettbewerb der Liga mit einem Welt, jetzt einem Leben. Es gibt noch kein Stammpublikum, Punkte so. Und das könnte ja gut sein, dass die Leistung unter anderem heute von der Lernwerke groß, der eine oder andere, der jetzt noch daheim auf dem Kutschen gelegen ist, mobilisiert und daher. Ja, hoffe ich sehr. Ich bin überzeugt, dass das ist feste Emotionen und dann
Können wir den Hintergrund bitte drücken? Wo den Hintergrund? Der ist total beschissen.
Wir bleiben dran, man soll den Tag nicht vor dem Abend laufen, man sollte schon mal anfangen. Danke vielmals für dieses Kompliment hier im ganzen Team, die 850 Helfer.